the as of right language. That
Hmm.
seems to be the very powerful language that's been inserted many times in that language.
Hmm.
I know it as a removal of local planning and zoning and conservation and governing bodies from these decisions. What does as of right mean?
So in zoning, you have an option of a special permit or as of right. And as of right essentially means that the development proposal, the application must go to a public hearing. Now, planning and zoning commissions are extremely limited in the reasons they can use to reject an application. Uh, and the public hearing is not a reason to reject the application. They have to follow state law and they have to follow the zoning regulations that are in place at the time. But there is a sentiment on behalf of the proponents of 1024 that public hearings are being used as a way to reject applications, not in my backyard philosophy. The reality is that most development proposals do go through. Public hearings do not stop them. Many of the communities we've talked to in Westcog say 95% of proposals that have a public hearing still go through. The purpose of the public hearing is to allow people who have the most information, people who live next to a property, they know where it floods. They know what the problems are. People in Hartford don't necessarily know that. People in the zoning board may not necessarily know that. But for the neighbors to come forward and say, hey, have you considered this? We have these concerns. And the way I look at it is public hearings are really an information gathering exercise to hear from the people who know the area best. I live in an area which has 2-acre zoning. Somebody in Harvard might say, there's plenty of space to put another house. Why do you have 2-acre zoning? I know that if my sink runs overnight, even a drip, I have no water the next day. There's not enough water in my property to subdivide it, but that's something only I know and only my neighbors know. The purpose of a public hearing is to collect all that information, to provide additional context and information for the Planning and Zoning Commission to consider, but not to supersede state law or the zoning regulations.